All right, hello and welcome to The Narcissist Kid by Romeo Jones. I'm really just sharing a lot about where I've come to in my life in terms of just growing from childhood wounds and addressing some of the things that went wrong with me. But it's funny as I begin to get serious about. So I started this channel on my father's birthday this past year, and I struggled with at one point I was really struggling with using alcohol. And as we know, alcohol can be very addictive, right? I plan to get into that, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory. And I apologize for my lighting, because look, when I turn on the light, that's way too bright, if you ask me. I guess if I keep my head over the bulb, it's okay, but that's a little way too bright. But I like the natural light from my window that's right behind me right now. You can't see it. But today in Chicago, there's a big overcast. It's December 1st, and it's like 45 degrees, so that's a blessing. And it was raining, but it's not raining too much right now. So I like it better without the light. But honestly, this is more so. I just want to catch you with a message. As I make this video, it's December 1st, 2023. This was by far the most challenging year of my life, and I did it. I did it to myself. Things didn't have to be that way, but we have this thing called causes and effects, right? If I knock on the wood, the effect is going to be a sound, right? So a lot of me not addressing my relationship to alcohol and truly finding freedom and happiness for myself, um, I just reached this place where it's time. So this year, I was homeless, and when I say homeless, like literally, I didn't have a car to sleep in. Okay, um, because there was one point. Anyway, that's another story. But I was literally homeless, y'all, and I was kind of couch surfing for a little while, but then I was finding myself in situations where I said, Romeo, it's truly time to go face what you did and get your life together, essentially. So, that lighting is driving me crazy when I stand back a little bit. And I don't have the best device, but I have a device, because again, when you're homeless and you don't have nothing, and because of alcohol, I'm losing my phones, and don't have insurance on the phones. It's just been a crazy ride. But in this moment, as I create this video and as I continue to do so, I'm just so grateful for where I'm at in my life. And I wouldn't say it's the bottom, like when you're homeless, that's the bottom. But for me, just being sober. So that was in January of this year when I was homeless. I was couch surfing. And then when couch surfing wasn't working out, I literally was sleeping in the library by day. Not literally like sleeping, but getting, because it was cold out, so getting, what would you call a shelter and a library by day. And the library closes, at 8 during the week and at 5 on the weekend. So then I would go on the rail system, the trains in Chicago, subways. Like it was crazy. I remember just looking at things. I would be on the subway at night, literally homeless. Excuse me. And when you're on the subway, it goes down underground, and turns into a subway. And at nighttime, you can see your reflection. And I'm just looking at my reflection in the mirror, like, man, homie, in high school you was the man, homie. What the heck happened to you? But I wasn't hard on myself, but it was, and then for me not to turn back to alcohol in the midst of me embracing this, it was crazy. But I want to just fast forward to April of this year. And my birthday is April 24th. I had made 33 years old. And on my birthday, I was broke. You hear me? I had a check. I think I still have the receipt. Not that that's important, but I had a check for $700. But I got the check on a Friday. So by the time this is the deposit slip right here. I got the check on a Friday, right? And for my bank, you have to wait one business day for it to clear. So it didn't matter if I put it in Sunday or Monday. I put the check in. My birthday was on a Monday. So my birthday gift to myself was to deposit the check, and okay, I had funds available on Tuesday. But more importantly than that, I didn't have anything, right? And okay, $700. What you want to do? Go to Jamaica? You know, things I've already done in the past anyway. What I really wanted to do was treat myself to something. And I said, Jerome, Romeo, what can you really treat yourself to? And I wanted to get sober. So I said, okay, let's really put our best foot forward using the resources that we have and get serious about this. So what I did was the first 29 days from like April 22nd all the way till May 22nd, my homeboy came into town from Los Angeles. I used to live in LA with him. I moved back. He recently moved back as well, but that's already no doubt. And when my buddy came to town, he wanted to go play golf, so we shot some golf, and then he wanted to go to the casino, something that I don't really do anymore. I lost a lot gambling and drinking was probably my two vices, and not addressing my healing, throughout my life. But anyway, so what I did, y'all, and I'm gonna upload these on my website and things like that, and make it a little more easy, because this simple calendar right here has changed my life, and it's so crazy because it symbolizes the last 14 years of my life. When I was 19 years old, uh, my mother, who I believe, she's a human being, and we all have our challenges. I'm not here to dog out my mom. I actually love my mom dearly, even though we have a very limited contact type relationship. You know what I mean? Um, my mom suffers from what I believe to be, and honestly, in the last 5 years or so, is when I didn't even know or aware, but my mom kind of suffered a little bit of a personality disorder, right? I don't want to. She got some narcissism in it, and the truth is, we all have narcissism, and I'll talk about that more. What I really wanted to share with you was this alcohol experiment. Okay, so if you notice, right, if we go over to April, see how when I'm in the green, I stay in the green, right? Boom, 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 boom. Then May came, May 22nd, when me and my boy we playing golf and gambling, and the drinking came back in, and then look how I just stayed there, right? Stayed there, red, 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 green, 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 and then up here, right? The pattern of what I'm trying to show you is, for me, and I believe everyone, but listen, it's just my belief. You take this for what the value that it's worth to you. It's highly addictive poison, right? And they call it alcohol, like it's not a drug, but it's really, when you look at it for what it is and take away all the bells and whistles, it's the most powerful drug on the planet. And to be honest with you, back in the days, I believe it was the late 19 or the 1930s, they used to use alcohol to put people to sleep during surgeries, right? Like, it's really the word I believe is anesthetic. It'll kill and numb pain, but alcohol was so toxic that they stopped using it, and the medical field came up with better practices. So if you notice throughout this whole process, right, you'll see that the most green that I had was in May. Okay, April, May. You know what I mean? Had some in June, but then in October, I got on a path where I went. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this backwards, y'all. In October 24th, that's my half birthday. Yeah, and our family, the family that I'm creating, we celebrate half birthdays. It's a milestone of, you closer to the next birthday than the last birthday. And so from October 24th until Thanksgiving, that just passed about a week ago, I was sober. Then on Thanksgiving, I drank again, and that was just a week ago, and I was right back into that alcohol trap, if you will. So as I was drinking, I said it like, I know that I'm done. Even though I'm still drinking, like, I just felt it, and I just knew it, that like, I don't want this in my life anymore. The decisions that I make when I'm intoxicated, because it affects your judgment. So something that you would normally do, you doing stuff you would normally do, or you way more reactive to certain situations, and I'm just like, hey, brother, I'm done. So listen, I'm talking about a lot about alcohol, right? And if you check out my background, I don't want to move my thing. I have it set up, but this year was 150 years for Chicago Public Libraries. So they were doing a lot of festivities and a lot of celebrating for the 150-year anniversary. and you can see that it says we all have stories to tell. Um, right. So here I am. I'm just grateful, y'all, because I've been wanting to start a channel for so long and talk about life, but I never really got to this space where I'm like, okay, this is it. You know what I mean? So for now, I want to address the alcohol issue. And in this book, a very, very powerful book on learning about narcissism, what it is. And again, I'm not really here to diagnose a person or anything like that, nor would I kind of recommend that you did. But when you go through these things, you get your own convictions and your own enlightenments. The light bulb goes off. Like, I remember it was 2018 when I found out about alcohol. I'm in LA making a ton of money, and I called a mentor of mine, and I'm like, I'm just so sad that I can't call my mom like, hey, come to LA. It's not snowing here. I'm actually at the beach, and my mentor said, hey, go go study narcissism, because I this mentor actually knows my mother very, very well. And she said, I realized that I was just in a relationship with a narcissist for a very long time. Again, I'm not here to judge, but in this powerful book by Julie Hall, The Narcissist in Your Life, in part 6 of the book, it's about healing from narcissism, from the effects of it, steps to recovery. And to me, the worst thing about narcissism or having someone in your life who suffers from this personality disorder is that it can leave you with post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, when I was a very intelligent young man, but if you ask me in my late teens and throughout my 20s, can a person have depression? Can a person have post-traumatic stress disorder? I would say that they had to be a veteran, like they had to go to war. Like, I didn't realize that what I went through was very traumatizing, and it's not just PTSD, but it's complex PTSD. And the difference simply is that PTSD, you can get PTSD from a one-off event. Maybe you get into a car accident and a loved one's in the car with you, and you know you got a little PTSD from the event, maybe cars, maybe certain streets, time of days. But complex PTSD is when it's perpetual. So that would be the equivalent of getting to a car accident every day. But in this book, in part 6, chapter 21, she goes on to talk about steps to recovery, and she's gonna talk about a lot of things, but the one that's most important to me right now, and which is why on this channel, The Narcissist Kid, it says address your addictions, okay? And let me just read this to you really fast. It says many people have grown up with trauma and or experienced it in a Many people who have grown up with trauma and or experienced it in adulthood fall into addictive patterns. Sitting with pain can feel overwhelming, and efforts to control, numb, or distract ourselves are understandable attempts to cope with suffering and negative emotion. Things like compulsive shopping, gaming, gambling, substance abuse, binge eating, guru addiction, and workaholism can seem to offer relief from such pain by giving us a feel-good shot of dopamine from our brain's reward center. But over time, as we develop tolerance, our reward response requiring increasing amounts of our drug of choice to make us feel good. Boy, can I relate to that. Um, One or two drinks are no longer enough. That's speaking directly to me. So we drink more and more, chasing the high that increasingly feels out of reach and poisoning ourselves in the process. As the addiction advances, we come to feel that we can't live or don't want to without it, and our need for it ellipses all else. Remember I said I was homeless? Guess who was with me while I was homeless? That bottle. I'm going to show you something real shortly here, you know. As someone working on self-awareness and personal healing from trauma, you need to be aware of your vulnerability to addiction. If you also have a genetic predisposition evident in your family to certain addictions, it is all the more important to work actively on preventing it or taking steps to overcome it. Remember to treat yourself with respect and compassion along the way. Try not to attach shame to it. Addiction does not mean you are a bad, weak, or selfish person. It does not require you to submit to a higher power if you do not find that idea helpful. Instead, recognize that your addictive behavior is one more way you have tried to manage trauma. Breaking addiction can be extremely difficult, and depending on your situation, you may need to seek out specialized help for it in the form of a therapist, support group, coach, and or treatment program. It may be impossible to believe right now, but you can reach a place where the addiction no longer dominates your thoughts or exerts power over you. People from all walks of life overcome addictions, and it is powerfully liberating when you get there. You can get there. That's why, listen, I'm so excited. You're gonna see me show up to just share my story and my journey. And when I asked myself, I said, who are you talking to? And I just thought that I'm talking to 19-year-old to 32-year-old, even 33-year-old Romeo Jones. Now, if you're younger than that or older than that, that's totally fine. But I know that my message that I want to share could potentially save you from a lot. Well, you're gonna have to save yourself, but the information can inspire you to change your life maybe quicker than I did. And hey, if you're like my uncle who's in his mid 40s and he's still pounding the bottle, I hope that this message can reach you as well. Okay. And what was crazy is when I didn't drink from October 24th, my half birthday, until Thanksgiving, which was November 23rd this year, I said, man, Romeo, you should have started. It would have been, you should have started to just talk about the whole journey. But what was interesting, even though I stopped drinking, I had started smoking pot, weed, you know what I'm saying? Ganja, gas, loud, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm not even a smoker, so at the same time, I kind of replaced it with something else as she was talking about. But guys, listen, for one, I, I have a lot more money when I'm not chasing addictions in my pockets. And for some reason, at 33, it's starting to become more important to me than the bottle and everything else that it come with. Homelessness, not taking care of your self care. You see my chip too? And that's not the only thing. But Thanksgiving 2 years ago, I fell on my face. I fell on my face on some drunk stuff. You know, I was gonna fall backwards over the banister, but I'm like, no, don't break your neck. And I'm like, oh no, it was crazy. But my point is, there's not one area of my life that alcohol has not impacted, from relationships to finances to jobs, you name it. All right, and I want to show y'all something. Right, I'm gonna go over here to my. I just set this up. I went in my garbage can. Today is garbage day, and look at this. Can you see that? That was just from the past week. And let me add this to you. Let me add this. Half the bottles that I drank in the past week aren't even there because I was consuming them outside very quickly when I thought I was gonna have a drink to enjoy myself on Thanksgiving or whatnot. Boom! Right away, it's like we back in the trap. We back in the alcohol trap. So excuse me. What I'm gonna do is, excuse me. I want to call this the backstory. And over the next 30 days, as we're closing out this year, I'm gonna spend a lot of time in reflection. But this lady, Annie Grace, I found out about her a year ago. But again, I was going through things, and I would turn back to my little warm, cozy bottle, and then wham! It's like it's so funny how to me, I go 0 to 100 real quick. But again, she talked about it. 1 or 2 drinks don't do it no more. So, on top of sharing the backstory, I'm gonna start this 30-day experiment today, and for what it's worth, but it's really good. It's just 30 days of being alcohol free, And she says, look, if you want to go back, go back. If you want to go another 30 days, that's fine. But for me, y'all, for the longest time, and I'm gonna wrap this thing up because I have to go get some laundry done. And yeah, it's funny. Like I looked at my laundry bag off the past week of drinking. It's like, bro, you don't even get laundry done. When I'm sober, I knock my laundry out as it comes, and I haven't swept my room in like a week, and it's just like, listen. But what's really doing it for me right now is I had a really rough childhood, and I didn't know that it was rough because it was normalized so much. You know what I mean? Especially in my community, the African American community, and more, and some I would say impoverished, and single moms working 2 jobs, etc., etc. I never wanted kids. So I never took I remember I was dating a wonderful girl in the past, and for the longest time I would be like, I don't want kids, so I don't want to get married. But as I've entered my 30s and I've been spending a lot of time alone, I'm like, bro, companionship And I'm a Taurus. Not that I'm getting big into zodiacs, but I can is outgoing and charismatic that I can be. I also do like my isolation, if you will. But you don't want to go off the deep end with isolation, especially when you get to abusing drugs like alcohol. You know what I mean? So for me, this is really the start of a new journey of, man, my kid might come watch this video years from now like, wow, Dad, you really went through that? Are you really going through that? Because I never want my next companion, and I never want my child to ever see me consuming alcohol, ever. And yes, there was a time in my life when I desired to be a collegiate football player where I looked at alcohol for what it was. I'm like, I'm not drinking that. You can drink that, but I'm good. I'm not about to be around here drunk. Now that's what if I made it this? So I I've got my website. I've got a website builder, and I'm just so excited to get ready to create content. And I aspire to inspire you to not just get sober because maybe that's not your thing, but also I've been realizing over the past few months as I've been doing this experiment and spending more time in the green here and there is that sometimes when we have rough childhood, it kind of erodes our identity. And when you're walking around with no really sense of identity of who you are, this morning I woke up, it's funny, I watched a scene when in Lion King, the 1994 edition, when Rafiki took Simba to go meet his dad, right? You could YouTube it, it's called Simba, Remember, and it'll come up. And Simba was lost. And I can relate so much to that. Like, like Rafiki and Nyla looking at him like, bro, you the king. Come claim your throne. What you doing out here with Tumba and Timon eating bugs, bro? You a king. But Rafiki, a baboon, monkeys are very smart, right? And baboon is a very smart monkey. But so that was a sign of wisdom. But Rafiki and Mufasa told Simba, remember who you are. What if you don't know who you are? Right? And Simba, Rafiki hit him in the head with the little stick, and he was like, ow. He's like, you gotta go change. You can't go face whatever you running from and go get your pride, brother. So for me, it's also building this next level of who I am. Like my 20s, it really has come to a close. And I'm not even 20 no more, but just that whole 20s and early 30s. Like my next birthday, I'll be 34. And I'm not, I can be a little dramatic about being specific, right? A little OCD, but when you're 34, that ain't really your early 30s anymore to me. Like, that's mid 30s, 34, 35, 36, that's mid 30s. 30, 31, 32, that's early 30s, but, 33, we could maybe debate about it, but 34, bro, you in your mid 30s. You are an adult male. If you can help yourself act like it. So even though I don't know you, I love you, and I'm doing this for myself as well. Yes, I plan to monetize this channel, and not just monetize for the sake of entertaining, but to help people change their lives. Um, I'm gonna be a coach, and I'm gonna be the type of coach that can use these. Annie Grace has it, bro. Like she has a program where she'll get you coached up on her philosophies, her research. Very intelligent white woman from like Colorado. Our lives are completely different, but the common denominator is alcohol also impacted her life. She's a high-level CEO at like 26 years old. She running the whole marketing for the whole big multi-international company, and going out for happy hour was a thing. I can count on 5 fingers how many times I went out to a happy hour. I literally use drinking to just self-soothe, and I'm ready to start a family, y'all. And a family doesn't just mean getting married and having a child, but more so than that, having a community, a pride where I play a role in it, and it's 2023, y'all. The internet is where it's at, and COVID has even accelerated that to a whole nother level, you know what I mean? So creating this community online, I also have some great resources I love to share with you. And yeah, I didn't want to make it too long or anything like that, y'all, but it's Romeo Jones. I'm beginning the alcohol experiment today. And, don't overwhelm yourself depending where you are at in your journey. I'm literally 14 years in the game of this, y'all. 14 and a half, if you really want to be exact. And, anybody can fall into this trap, y'all. When I first started drinking alcohol, I was in high school. But it's funny, I never drank during the day. and I never drank by myself. And I only thought about alcohol on Friday nights and Saturday nights. Sunday through Thursday, why are you thinking about alcohol? But when my mother pretty much disowned me, the finale, because she disowned me plenty of times, and I think a lot of it was unconscious. And I'll tell you another thing. Being my age and making a lot of mistakes has given me so much grace and compassion for my mother, because who am I to judge? I made a lot of mistakes single with no kids. By the time my mother was my age, she had like two divorces, a lot of abortion, two divorces, a lot of abortions, two kids. Like mama, by the time she was my age, she had some things cooking in the kitchen, you know. So it gives me grace to hey forgive, you know, and move forward after that. So I'm gonna go get some laundry done, my family, and I'm just so excited to be here and to share this journey with you and for you to see that it's possible to transform. Because I'm gonna share some backstories with y'all where you are not even gonna believe it. Like even the whole situation how I ended up homeless. It was the narcissist in me, right? While you sitting around in the past crying about, you know, what happened to you, and I gotta be a little more compassionate. You know, I took the blame of it. Like, why wasn't I good enough? It wasn't that you weren't good enough, Jerome. It's that, you know, maybe your mother didn't feel good enough, so she didn't know. You can't pour from an empty cup, y'all. I love you, even though I don't know you, and it's time for me to get busy in this game called life. And the events of pretty much my 30s. Like 2020 was when I turned 30. Like a month before COVID hit, in March of 2020, I turned 30 that next month in April. And my 30s have just been such an enlightening period of time, even with using. So now I'm closing that chapter on my life, y'all. And I gotta be honest with you, my life is way better in the green. I plan on being a leader of companies that do seven. Well, we got to start small, right? 6 figures, 7 figures, but even 8 figures. And in a past life, I used to caddy, right? So that kind of contributed to my degenerate way of life, because it was like we drink on the job all the time. Like some groups, you're not going with that group if you don't drink, bro. You know what I mean? But since then, I don't caddy anymore. So and which was a blessing, but it humbled me because now I had to get a job where I can't use my skill of caddying and my knowledge of golf to make a lot of money, y'all. But it's like I got to know a regular. Yeah. Anyway, I like my life better in the green, y'all. I'm done with the alcohol experiment, meaning that the crayons, I'm done coloring. This is all I ever need for the rest of my life to remind me. This is a reflection of the last 14 years of my life. And it also reminded me to write things down, because had I not wrote this down, it'd just be in my mind like, oh man, when I stop drinking, life is better when I'm drinking. You know, I'm scared of what I did at work yesterday. I went into work hungover, and in the past, the easiest way to a hangover fix is to drink some more. Right? You either gonna get through the withdrawals of it coming out of your system, or stay high. Right? I'm done, y'all. Last night I had a drink and I didn't even finish it. And this morning I went to a walk at the beach in the rain. It was beautiful to me. My coat got soaked, but it'll dry. And on my way back, one of my buddies that be on the block, we not like buddies, we more so drinking buddies. But he's cool, you know. And I saw him, and he kind of flagged me down. So I gave him the rest of that bottle. So that was last night. I don't know what time it was. I don't care what time it was, because like Rafiki told Simba in that scene, it's 5 minutes, y'all. I love that scene in Lion King. He said that the good thing about the past is it's in the past. So my drinking days are truly behind me, and I don't want to miss a beat on sharing that, because I know some people who can relate. And you know, a year from now, I'm going to work diligently to have a story that could say, hey, bro, you can heal and you can change your life. And you can be in a relationship that's full of love and nurturing, you know? So, Romeo Jones with the Narcissist Kid. Kelsey, I want to show y'all that. We all have stories to tell. I've been thinking about doing this for so long, y'all. I just never got busy. And then you see that Mario? I work as a waiter at a popular diner here in America, And this kid came in with his own colors because we give you coloring when you come into the restaurant. But this kid came in with his own coloring and coloring book, and he colored Mario, and then he gave it to me, and he signed his name and dated it. That was 10/14/23, and it says, "This is Mario. He's the bravest hero in the Mushroom Kingdom." It's time for me to be a hero for myself, y'all. But I know this got long. I was just gonna rant, and then my other posters. You know, I started with nothing. I got all these from the library, the Chicago Public Library, because my room, I'm like, it's so white. Like, let's get some color in here. But it says healing is a process, our process. Not just in Chicago, y'all, but all over the globe. Alright. Again, I love y'all, and I'm excited to share this journey in terms of healing from alcohol and then going back and really healing from a lot of that trauma that took place in my childhood, a lot of the things that I internalized, and do it gracefully and lovingly. So that's it for now. Until next time, do me a favor, if you like this video, like it, even subscribe. You really want to take it to the next level, subscribe. You want to take it to the next level after that, go and hit that notification bell so when I drop this fire content for y'all, you'll be notified. And I appreciate your time here on this channel, and much love. Thank you.